tired of watching shows that only give you general social media theory and expect you to figure out how to apply it to your own industry? Join us for this week's episode of Social Chatter, the industry's longest-running social media marketing news talk show. Not only will you learn the latest breaking news, but you'll also gain practical advice on how to apply it. Now here's your host, Christian Karasiewicz.
Hey there, everyone. Welcome to our 200th episode of Social Chatter, your weekly social media marketing news talk show. I'm really excited. That's 200 episodes. And if you kind of break it down, I mean, we're talking 4+ years of social media news. This is, we do this every single week, and I love doing it. Being able to share what's happening in social media, but also how it actually applies to you as a business owner, because there certainly are a lot of updates as evidenced by this week. I mean, we've got updates from Instagram, we've got Twitter updates, we've got Facebook updates, we've got LinkedIn updates this week, we've got YouTube. It seems like we almost hit the trifecta here. Well, actually more than the trifecta, because we basically have practically every social media channel this week has something new. And so I'm just going to pop on and say a quick hello, and we're going to kick things off. So, hey there, everyone. How you doing? So, our 200th episode. But like I said, we've got lots and lots and lots of topics we want to cover with you. So I'm going to go and bring on Phil. We're going to get going because this is just, a really big week in social media. So, Phil, how you doing?
What's up, Christian? 200 episodes, man. It feels like we've been here just a couple minutes.
It does. I mean, it's just, I'm excited. I mean, 200 episodes. It's, again, when you start things, you don't really know where they're going to go. But, like I said, we've been doing this for quite a long time, and it's something, it's a passion of mine. So,
well, I'm glad to be part of it, man. This has been your show from the get-go, but I'm honored to be part of episode 200, my friend.
Thank you very much. So, by the way, who do we have on this week?
Holy crap. So I am super duper excited because I've been following this smart human being around the internet for a long time, and finally just realized I've never actually talked to her. So I'm super excited. It's Amanda Robinson. If you don't know her, she's the digital gal. She's widely sought after in the digital marketing industry for knowledge and experience as a Facebook ads expert. We need more of those, right? She's doing great. She teaches a Facebook ads 4-week training program. She advises for social media examiners, membership groups, social media marketing society, 2,000 entrepreneurs and digital marketers. And here's the cool part. She's regularly featured as a guest on digital marketing podcasts like ours. And we're just jacked that she's here. And let's not forget Canada Small Dog. Woot woot.
I wish I had Small Dog here to. We'll see if we can cue him up. We'll see what happens. But yeah, the world traveling Canada Small Dog.
That's it. Almost as famous as you, Amanda.
Oh, way more. I mean, when I go places, all people want to see a small dog. They don't care to see me.
So that's funny.
Fantastic having you on, Phil.
Thank
so
you.
While I get things going here, if you want to, kick things off maybe with viewers, tell them where they can tune in, what we have going on.
Absolutely. So, hey, so first, one big announcement is very soon. So keep your eyes peeled on your favorite podcast player. We're going to have a podcast, audio only. We've been asked for it for months, and we're finally going to do it. So you'll see that podcast coming up at socialchefs.com/SC for Social Chatter Podcast. That's socialchefs.com/SC Podcast. And of course, if you want to find us on Facebook, you can see us there at facebook.com/Social Chefs, or you can find us on YouTube. And we do the shows live, unedited, unscripted, and often off the hook because we have great guests like Amanda this week. We're super duper excited. So much to talk about, though. Holy cow. So,
yeah,
Mr. Karasiewicz, where are we going to start this evening?
So I think we're actually going to start, and you guys have probably heard a lot about this in the news. It's an app, and this is not Tool Time, which is the end of the show. This is Face App, and it's basically an AI face editor, and it sounds fantastic. It's this app that lets you open up your camera and take your existing photo and basically make you look old. And it sounds really cool. Like, hey, let's see what I look like. But what are the issues with this, Phil? Are there any issues?
Amanda, you use this, right? You uploaded all the pictures you've ever taken for your life? No?
No. I'm actually one of the rare people here who has not actually used the app, because I don't know about you gentlemen, but as a female, when I see all of these aged photos, I go running and screaming in the full opposite direction. I have no interest in seeing myself in that way. I have enough insecurities about, do I look normal today, let alone what am I going to look like, 50 years from now. So I have not actually used the app, but now that I'm seeing all of the news that's coming out, which I know we're going to get to and we're going to talk about, I'm kind of grateful that I haven't used it.
Yeah, really smart. I mean, first I'm just going to share, I did download the app. I did pop through. I read the terms of service very clearly, knew what I was getting into. Okay, did not connect with my Facebook. Not that all my Facebook pictures likely aren't all over the internet anyway, or nobody cares, right? Whatever. But the interesting thing is, if you don't connect with Facebook, by default, it takes your camera roll. Here's the interesting thing. You could get one picture, right? I take a picture of me, and what do I look older? That's no sweat. But then I'm like, oh, well, what is an old picture of me? Like, what does one look like? Oh, I took 6 weeks ago, or 6 months ago, or 6 years ago. And now all 1,800 pictures on my camera roll are now uploaded for people, interestingly enough, a Russian company.
Now are they? I'm not, so
that's the thing,
okay.
Right? I agree with you. I don't know that either. Right? I didn't have that happen to me. That being said, the terms of service give me the heebie-jeebies.
Oh, there's no question. The terms of service are a little bit over the top with, no, it's like a full stop no. However, from what I've been reading some of the news back and forth. So let's position this. So there have been some complaints coming out that it's a major privacy issue where you're basically giving away everything in exchange for a really fun photo and really handing over all of your data without having any understanding or any clue exactly how that data is being used, how it's being stored, what is being done with that data, and where's that data going. For example, it's being brought up that it's a Russian company. Well, yes, it is a Russian company that it has built the app, but does that mean it's going to the Russians and, oh no, it's a big security data breach? No. And I've seen some information going back and forth and some rebuttals saying that, no, they're not actually accessing your entire camera roll. It's just a function in how the iOS app talks to the camera roll when you're giving permissions and authorizations. But even with all that said, it's still not good. Well,
it's possibly bad. And the thing is, again, we don't read the terms of service. So, Christian, I know that you cleaned it with a fine-tooth comb. What are you thinking over there in the Middle East? What do you got?
I definitely am not. I'm not loving this one. It reminds me of like quite a number of years ago. Flickr had a similar thing going on with their. You'd upload photos and then they had the rights to use them. And I think somebody's photo appeared like on the side of a bus station ad or something like that, and the person didn't know they were there. And so it raises all sorts of privacy concerns for me. I mean, the key thing here is, it doesn't matter if I'm a business, I'm, using this for my profile, basically just read the terms of service. And if there's any little part there, I mean, sometimes it's because of how, the app stores, how they allow the apps to be built. But in this case, there's just a lot of things to me that just raise a lot of red flags. Again, it's your data. You also, if somebody uploads something, it's not really on the company in a way. It's on the individual as well. So like you are responsible for what you upload. So know what you're doing. Just because it's cool, that whole thing like, hey, just because all the cool kids are doing it thing. Just keep that in mind with this kind of app.
Yeah. Likely much ado about nothing. Of course, people need something to report on. So they likely got a lot of reporting. For me, like my reporting was, hey, I encourage you not to use this. You should read the terms of service. Because it's possible they could do some nefarious stuff. Absolutely. Probably won't, right? They probably won't. Let's be really clear, right? They probably won't. But then again, I don't really want a picture of me at 78 years old either, Amanda. I'm pretty insecure too, right? I don't want to see that either.
Yeah. Did you see how this? I'm actually more fascinated with how this ballooned into a big issue or a big story. With the information I'm backtracking, how it came out from a tweet from was it Joshua Nazi, who put a tweet out originally that said, "Be careful with Face app, the face aging fad app. It immediately uploads your photos without asking whether you choose one or not." And then from there, it went viral. And then from there, he's come back and posted publicly saying, okay, I screwed up. I said something that was wrong. It was not entirely accurate. And then it has caused an absolute firestorm. My sincere apologies to the company. So he apologizes to them. But then he also states, but legitimate concerns do remain. And that's where he brings up the terms of service and looks at and starts picking through that. So his original claim and what everybody is, where everyone is speaking up and screaming about, oh no, huge privacy. It's not as bad as his original tweet, but it's also really brought a huge spotlight into privacy concerns. And yes, privacy concerns are number one, and this may not be a portal to major privacy concerns and sharing data with Russians, but this brings up a huge point about what are our data? What are we willing to give away in exchange for what? What's our data worth? What's the value on that? The value on that to an advertiser to simply put up something like this, scrape our data, and then use remarketing to market us with ads and take our data and segment it and sell it. That's huge, and that's a problem. However, consumers we're sheep. We're sheep when it comes to terms of service because we're buried in legalese. We're buried in when we're going to download an app or use a service, we don't have an extra spare 2 hours to go through everything with a fine-tooth comb and then translate it and understand it in normal language. So really, I feel like it's bringing to light a bigger issue that there's a major loophole with businesses who can take advantage of consumers by just burying stuff in legal. And us as consumers, we need to get a little bit better at recognizing that's happening so that we can speak up against it and make change in the industry so that, normal language gets used and things get flagged a little bit easier to say, hi, if you want to use this, this is what we're doing with your data.
Right. Absolutely.
Good point. And what was the guy's name who reported again, Amanda?
Pardon me?
What was the guy's name who reported it? Who was the person who broke the news?
That is Joshua Nazi. I can share the link to the article where he gives the whole data.
Yeah, the comments, by the way, and the key thing here is, like you said, it just needs to be the terms just need to be more simple for people because, like you said, we don't have time. People don't have hours to go through terms of use. And the other thing also you have to keep in mind is it comes down to the companies that are building these things. So it is potentially, possible that like maybe the company has built other apps, for instance. And then maybe they just copied parts of the terms of service from other apps that they've already built, so keep that stuff in mind. And also just overall, just know where you're putting your content. It's an easy, it's a slippery slope, basically. Hey, it's easy to use. It's fun. Let's try it out. Nobody's read the terms at that point. They've already started. So
I want to give a quick shout out to Sue Ann, who's watching live right now regarding this app. She goes, I don't need an app. I'm old. No, you're not, Sue Ann, but that's cute.
Definitely. So, Phil, is there anything else y'all want to cover on this topic, or we've got the
thing I'm going to say is about any app, don't try to be cutting edge in your business. Instead, wait for news to break, talk about it. You don't need to be first, you need to be smartest. So I encourage you for your business, look to us, look to other people, Manavar, look to the Digital Gal, look to people that are testing things like this and see, is a concern. Like, for instance, I don't update my iOS device until it's a 0.1 on the OS, right? Just because I don't. I'm worried about that, right? I don't want to bork my machine. But once it is, then I install it, and now we can talk about it, right? So that's what I'm saying, right? Be smart, be educated, follow smart people, and ask questions. If you ever have questions, drop a note on our page, comment on our YouTube channel, send us a tweet, whatever it is. Find us at Social Chefs, and we'll be happy to answer your question.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Amanda. What were you saying?
I was going to say, as someone like myself who is the digital gal, and I'm totally into all the digital tech, and I'm into everything that's breaking news and everything new, it's very hard for me to see something new and not want to jump all over it and try it out because the rest of my social peers are doing the same thing. And I want to be ahead of the curve. I want to understand, why is this a social fad? Why is everybody engaging with it? What is it about the latest and greatest? So I'm usually a very early adopter, and I'm usually the first to jump on the bandwagon, so to speak. But this one in particular has been sort of a little eye-opener, making me go, you're right. Maybe, there's a lot of value to being ahead of the curve and being the first to talk about something, especially when people look to you for that digital advice. But I'm still a person just like everybody else. And you don't know until you just don't know. You don't know until you try. But It's a fine balance between leveraging my personal data and security versus understanding and being in the know by actually jumping in and trying out what everybody else is trying out.
Definitely. And the thing also to keep in mind is there are two different, schools of thought here. Like if we're talking about like an app, I'm not going to be the first person to download it. And hey, if I'm the first person, or I'm the 50th person or the millionth person, it doesn't matter at that point. It's when I get in that I see I see the most value from it. I don't see a lot of value from a business perspective here at all with something like this. Again, it's a shiny object basically. And
well,
so
it was a scroll stopper. I mean, I talk
Right.
all the time about creating content that is stopping the scroll, and it's very, very hard to break through that noise. But I'll tell you, I stopped my scroll a whole bunch of times when I woke up in the morning and saw all of my friends posting older versions of it. Just makes you go like, wait, what? Huh? So it was a very big content shocker. And that's what, we practice and we preach is put out content that stops the scroll. So this is a very, very attractive app for people, but this is one that it's not, it's a trap. And to say that they're using all of your data in a negative way, it's not to say, it's a potential source of you handing over way too much and getting way too little in return.
Right. And the other thing also with this, you also have to look at it, artificial intelligence. So in order for artificial intelligence to improve, it has to have data. And so therefore, they may not say they do come out and say they actually use the information, but in order to improve artificial intelligence, you have to have data to improve it. So it makes a lot of sense if I'm running a photo app to be able to collect data and then be able to put that into a model and have it do other things. So Phil, any last thoughts on this?
Nope. Just be smart. That's all I'm going to say.
So where are we going next?
Oh, well, let's go to Instagram. Instagram, another Facebook property, right? They changed their account disabled property, hopefully to make it a little bit more transparent about why you're getting disabled. Now, this is interesting. Under the policy, they disable accounts that have a certain percentage of violating content. The new policy is, in addition to removing, they'll also remove accounts with a certain number of violations within a certain time. So this is going to line up more with Facebook, which means you're going to get a notification that, hey, you're screwing up, which is really good. I don't want my stuff disabled by, on accident or without reason. So that's one. And two, again, Facebook owns Instagram, Facebook, and WhatsApp. I want to see them all align. They have the back end the same. Of course, the front ends likely will be different, but I want to see policies across Facebook properties. I don't know. Amanda, what do you think?
Well, I hear what you're saying, but I think they operate completely different. They're completely different tools that operate in different arenas, even though there's a lot of overlap. But you consume content a lot differently on Facebook than you do on Instagram, so you can game the system a lot differently on Facebook than you can on Instagram. They run on different algorithms. So because of that, they have to react and tweak everything a little bit differently to keep up with the trolls and with the spam and with the bots, the bad bots, not the good bots. I'm a big fan of good chat bots. But what I find very fascinating, I love how they're adopting a tweak here that it's not just based on a percentage, because you could have an account that is pumping out a high daily volume of really negative content or a high volume of okay content, but if the percentage of the negative content isn't high enough, they're not getting flagged. Whereas at least now this is taking into account the number, the quantity, the number of flags, not just a percentage. So I think it has a higher capability, a higher capacity of actually taking down negative accounts. But where I find it also interesting, they're giving us a big tweak, saying, okay, we're making a big change because we're trying to make it better. Right. But we also recognize that there are legitimate people getting caught up in this. So they're making the appeal system a lot easier. And I think that shows that they really do care. It's not, you can't just leave it all up to machine learning and AI and all of the rest. There are some other components that need to be, other contingencies that need to be put into place. So I love that they're not just coming out with this one update and tweak and then saying, oh, we'll fix any issues later. They're rolling them out side by side, saying, okay, we're making a big tweak, but we're also giving you more tools on how to appeal if you get caught up inadvertently.
Awesome.
And with something like this, I mean, you do have to keep in mind, I mean, your accounts, like if you should know right off the bat whether your account is going to potentially violate things on a network, and so don't just I don't
know. It's getting harder. It's getting harder.
I agree with you, Amanda. I think it's way harder. I mean, Christian, it's not like you got nip slips on your Instagram, but me, dude, you should see some of the pictures I post. I mean, people are, no, well, that's not true, right? But no, it's harder though, because the problem is, right, with hate speech and stuff like that,
Right.
hate speech in one country is not in another country. So we have to be really clear on the guidelines, which is where a warning and an understanding. And 20 years ago, when I helped install one of the first ever email blacklisting programs, okay, the word kraut got flagged in our system because a kraut is a slur for a German person. I didn't know this. I was organizing a baseball game and I wanted kraut on my hot dog because we tailgate in Milwaukee. But the system was set up in California, and a kraut is not a nice word to say, I guess, about German people. So through no fault of my own, my email kept getting blocked. And then someone from HR said, well, you helped write this policy. How come you don't know? I said, that must be a default. What's flagging? So they pull up the email. One thing flags, the word kraut. Now we know. Now we can fix, right? As opposed to just reject, shut your account down. That's no good. So I actually think the transparency and, Amanda, great point, human factor. Yes, love human beings actually looking at this stuff instead of just AI.
Exactly. And I like how, you made the point earlier how, what may not be offensive in one culture may be offensive in another culture. So one of the points that they do point out here is that they're going to be introducing it to a whole bunch of different areas of violations, but one of those is nudity and pornography. And with that, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I see a lot of things on Instagram that are, 10 years ago would not be acceptable for a female, but now are completely acceptable and empowering to women. So it depends on certain cultures as well, where that's still not acceptable or it's uncomfortable, or there's different varying degrees and levels of that. So it really is somewhat subjective, and people can flag individual accounts for different things. So it depends on so many factors. So there really is a human factor involved here. And, these systems are set up to protect us. And they're making them better to protect us. And I see all the time in a lot of these support groups online where people are putting their hand up saying, hey, the algorithm just caught me, or I just got shut down, or my account got shut down. And there's no reason for it to happen. There was nothing vile or vulgar or wrong or offensive in it, but it just got caught up and shut down. So at least now I feel like Instagram is addressing some of that by improving the tools, making it better, making it a more safer environment to protect us and foster better experiences. So overall, I see this as a huge improvement. The human factor is still very important, but it's so hard to play with that volume of data and still create a safe environment.
Definitely. And the other thing also to kind of keep in mind, if I'm a business, so like how should I handle this? So for example, I mean, do I need to build in some time maybe during the week, like with my content, know that, hey, you know what, if I'm using Instagram a lot, there's a potential chance that my account's going to get flagged at some point. If that happens, what do I do? Do you have any tips for viewers?
You appeal it. It's a system. You appeal it and you do your best. I personally, I'm the digital gal and I teach Facebook ads. When I launched my first 4-week Facebook ads training program, I got my entire ad account shut down. Completely shut down the week before my training started, and I'm to teach Facebook ads, and now my account was shut down. So it was a huge, what did I do wrong? And so going through the process, just much like a lot of my students have gone through the process, or other people have experienced, where their accounts are getting shut down, and it's not through intention. You're not breaking any direct rules, but it has Facebook and Instagram. It feels like lately have really, really been tightening up their rules and tightening up what's getting flagged in the system. And it does happen to average normal people, including people like myself, who I'm incredibly knowledgeable on the subject, and I still had my ad account shut down. So I just went through the appeal process, and that was no problem. They took a look and it was reinstated. But it's certainly something that I want to say that certainly something that is more common for the general public to experience, versus it's not just spam accounts and people who are doing bad things who are getting caught up in this. A lot of normal, regular business owners are also being affected.
Yeah,
definitely.
Really great point.
So any parting thoughts on the fact that, Instagram's changing their account disable policy? Anything else you want to add, or do we want to move on? What do you want to do?
Well, again, the last word on this that I would say is just pay attention, folks. And if your account does get disabled, appeal it if you didn't do anything wrong. And if you did do something wrong, you better apologize and
Well,
hope that they're graceful with you, because they're probably not going to be. Let's be clear. If you're a jackhole, they're probably not going to be.
well, and if you did do something wrong and you didn't realize it, I'm sorry, but you're not getting your account back. So do your due diligence, do your research, read the terms of service. And their terms of service, Facebook and Instagram, is way more easier and more human to understand than, say, the Face app. But as a business owner, it's getting harder and harder to understand what's acceptable and what's not, because the lines are very fine. Just take the time to research, especially if you are in a healthcare industry or a fitness industry, or if you're in a cannabis industry. There are a lot of people who are putting out very valuable quality content to help people, but there are a lot of things that come hand in hand with a high degree of restrictions when it comes to putting content on Facebook, Instagram, and especially when you're doing your ads.
And also kind of going to your point about, healthcare, like you've got healthcare, you've got also MLMs, for instance, if you're involved in any of that kind of stuff, that stuff is getting cracked down a lot. Any other industries that come to mind, by the way?
Well, financial services, right? Financial services is known for being super, super conservative.
Right.
The good news is they're trying to be smarter.
And real estate. And
there you go. And real estate. Yep. Yeah. Personal real estate, right? Anytime that people can make a false claim, you should be thinking, to serve the general public that isn't educated. Like if FaceApp suddenly said that there was no risk at all, and their terms of service said there was, the hope would be that Facebook and Instagram would disable that as a thought, right? And maybe they won't, right? But I'm just saying, if that was the claim, and yet it wasn't backed up, right, they would likely be disabled or at least warned.
True, but Facebook and Instagram can't keep up with the huge volume of apps and huge volume of technology that's plugging into their API. So it is. I can see how
you can report it though, Amanda. Right, that's the key.
Exactly.
Right, that's right. If we're talking about this, that's the human thing, right? You through no fault of your own got disabled. Okay, you appeal to a human, or Christian does something stupid on the Social Chefs page and I report it. Well, now, right, that's again, human interaction. And I think that's actually a very good thing.
And keep in mind, like the security and safety, I love that privacy, security, and safety is increasing with Facebook and Instagram, because now it even spills over to, if you are both an admin on the Social Chefs page and Christian does something really stupid and crazy and gets shut down, it can impact you as well as an administrator on that page and the other pages that you are an admin on. So they're cracking down. It is like a giant game of whack-a-mole when they're trying to take out the bad actors, because a bad actor isn't just going to be an admin on one page, not just going to have one ad account. They're going to have several. So I love that it's evolving over time, but then it also puts a lot more responsibility on us as advertisers or us as marketers to make sure that we are linking up with the right crowd when it comes to putting out quality content and respecting the terms of service, the conditions, and the community standards.
Absolutely. Yep. So go ahead. Yeah.
Bill? I say, that's one more reason why you want to make sure you keep up with us, right? You want to make sure you get the newsletter every day. There's breaking news all the time. So you should go to socialchefs.com/daily so you can make sure that you learn about the latest news, all the latest tools, stuff like this, right? This stuff impacts you in real time. So you want to make sure you keep up. Again, that's socialchefs.com/daily. Christian sends that out. It is fantastic. It's one of the only things that I read at least 3 days a week, and I try to read it every day. It's really good.
There's so much to keep up with.
And like I said, I think at the beginning of the show, I was like, hey, there's Facebook, there's Twitter, like this week, YouTube, let's see, I think we talked about Pinterest. Like there's just about every channel has an update this week. And that doesn't happen often, but you end up with, there's 5 updates from Facebook this week, or Instagram has
I made the mistake of going away on a family vacation on the week of Facebook's F8. Oof. So I was getting on an airplane flying to somewhere with no internet after watching Facebook's F8 in the airport, and all of the changes, all of the updates to Messenger, all of the updates to the platform. And there were some major changes this time around. And it was like getting on the airplane, going to somewhere exciting, but no. Professionally, it was like drinking water from a fire hose with the number of updates. And that's why I'm so grateful that you guys put out such great content and keep everybody up to date.
So Instagram, Face app, where do you want to go? Where do you guys want to go we got
to talk about LinkedIn. We got to talk about LinkedIn because LinkedIn often is forgotten, right? And we make sure we don't, because I love LinkedIn.
I know. I was going to say, let's put LinkedIn last. Let's go to Twitter, but let's do it. Let's do this. I'm ready.
No, so this is really big. In fact, AJ Wilcox is our go-to LinkedIn ads guy. If you don't know AJ, he's at b2link.com. Really smart guy. I am positive this is exciting for him because he's been playing with this for a while. He's been playing for this for a while. So here's the big thing. Now we can actually enhance the website conversion capabilities, and we can optimize our click pricing so that we can really do an objective-based workflow. So what does that mean, right? That means that if our goal is website visits, we can set it up so that our goal is website visits, and we optimize for that. If our goal is landing pages, we can optimize for that. This is becoming more and more and more like Facebook. So Amanda, for you who love Facebook, this is actually this makes LinkedIn a lot more sensible because in the past it's been very confusing.
Yes. Well, from a Facebook ads, I don't have much experience on the LinkedIn side of things, but from a Facebook ad side of things, a lot of people when they first start advertising are not aware that there's a difference between a link click versus a landing page view. Mm-hmm. So people can click a link and the ads platform counts it as, yep, it got clicked. So therefore we gave you what you asked for. But there's a very big difference to the number of people clicking and then waiting for the page to load and abandoning or actually making it to your content. So when an ad platform such as LinkedIn is taking strides to update themselves to actually deliver, not just get you halfway there to your goal, but to actually get you to your goal, that's a huge step in the right direction.
Yep. Really, really big, really important. Hopefully, if you're a B2B marketer and you're thinking about this, or you're someone who has a lot of customers on LinkedIn, this really is a game changer for you because this will get you, it'll be high, it'll be more expensive, let's be clear, right? Because you're actually getting what you want, but you're getting what you want. That's what I want. I don't mind if I pay $10 for a $100 product and it only takes me 8 clicks to get it. I'll get $20. That's a freaking slot machine. I'll play, right? That's a good move. Christian, what about you, man?
Definitely. And you have to think about that. Like when you're running ads, like it's not about trying to get it's not the race to the bottom and try to get the lowest cost on your ads, because depending on the platform you're on and the type of click you're trying to optimize for, or the type of ad you're trying to run, like it's going to cost different amounts. So Amanda, do you want to kind of speak to that part? Like,
yeah, when advertisers are playing the game, when they're trying to get a good ROI, return on their investment, you really are looking at the reports and you're looking at the numbers, and you want to see that I got X number of clicks and it cost me X number of dollars. And you want that number to feel like you're getting your money's worth and that you're actually getting a return on that. And I just noticed from the Facebook ads world that when people start going after objectives that have a higher quality to them, such as actually getting to that landing page, they look like they cost a lot more. But if you really examine the cost of all of those other clicks of trying to send people to your page, but the page not actually loading, and your reports making it gives you an inflated number that it looks like you're getting a higher ROI on the number of clicks. But meanwhile, from an actual business process and user experience and actual business results, it's only telling half the story. So you can slice and dice your data in 300 different ways. So anytime an ad platform gives us an opportunity to increase the quality, your costs are going to increase as well. But look at the quality of the value of what you're getting out of it in exchange. So, you're getting what you pay for. So if you want to go for the cheap and cheerful route, that's what you're going to get as far as quality of audiences that you're attracting and that you're putting into your remarketing pixels, because you probably have a marketing pixel on your on your website, and you're skewing those audiences by putting low quality people into your site. So the higher quality, the better all the way around.
And you have to look at it like let's look at some of the major companies that are out there. I mean, if I'm looking at like an Apple, for example, like they have a specific audience they are trying to target. They're not running cheap ads just because, hey, we want to get a big audience, so the same thing applies. Like look at the brands that you follow, for example, they all have a certain demographic that they try to reach. That's not just through the messaging and whatnot that they're putting in their ads or the graphics or the magazines or wherever they're being advertised at. But you just have to keep that in mind. I mean, you want the right people that are going to spend the money. For example, don't go for the cheap audience. Just don't yes, people are going to say, hey, they're going to say like, hey, I get really low like cost per click on some of my, content, on some of my ads and whatnot. But again, you have to look at who the audience is.
Well, and you see that across platforms too. I mean, Facebook is going to be significantly cheaper to advertise to than LinkedIn. And LinkedIn and Facebook are going to be significantly cheaper to advertise to than using Google Ads. So there are different price points across these different platforms, but they're going to bring you a completely different quality of people. Facebook is going to bring you a higher bounce rate on your website. Facebook is going to bring you a lower quality of people, but Facebook is at a lower price point that businesses can still participate in as a foundational tool to drive traffic to start getting attention span on their products. LinkedIn, way more hyper targeted because you can go after an actual job title. You can get straight to the people you need to talk to. And you can't do that with Facebook. So it costs you more. And then Google ads, those typically drive a much higher quality of people because you're tied directly to what they're searching for.
Absolutely. Phil, anything you want to add to this?
Well, the thing that I want to add is quality, quality, quality. If this is your target, spending a little bit more is really good. If this is not your jam, don't mess around because it's going to be an expensive experiment. So be really aware. And to your point, not just demographic, but let's also think about the psychographic, right? What's going to drive a CEO to click on your ad for a $100,000 piece of software, right? What is that? Let's talk about that, right? That's important. Let's talk, and that's how your ad's written. So you got to appeal to both, right? You target with that, but then you can't forget about the psychographic because it's really easy to forget about that and say, well, I targeted the right person and this ad should work. No. Psychographically, you got to understand what are their real needs? What's their real value? If you were to promise that this $100,000 piece of software earned a CEO $110,000, they would tell you to pound sand because the opportunity cost of evaluating that is not enough. Right. You'd have to tell them that it means $200,000, $300,000, $500,000 because they've got decisions all day long that they're making for these big companies, these big associations, these big public entities. So understand your audience, not just demographically, but psychographically.
And Phil, I also wanted to add in when you were saying, you need to spend more. Even if you're not going to spend more, say you have $500 that you're going to spend on an ad campaign and you spend that, you just have to manage those expectations that taking advantage of changes like this, where LinkedIn is getting you to an actual landing page view, you can spend the same amount of dollars. You're just getting an actual real look at the results you're getting versus a skimmed over skinny version of the results you potentially could have gotten because it's only telling half the story if they're not optimizing to that next degree. So you don't really have to spend more. You have to spend more if you want to get the equivalent number of clicks, but these are higher quality. So it's not apples to apples.
Right. And by the way, speaking of $500, do you think, is that a big budget, for example? So for viewers that are watching, I mean, do you think it's a big size budget if I'm, just starting out or all in scale?
Not for LinkedIn.
No.
AJ wants anything under 10 grand a month, right? So that's a good size budget. That being said, shrink that down. If you're a small business, $1,000 for a $10,000 product probably makes sense. If you're going to go below, about $75, $80 is about the lowest price that I would ever invest on LinkedIn ads because it's going to cost you that to get 50 clicks.
Exactly. And when you're looking at Facebook, if you're spending, $1,000 a month is a lower end conservative budget, but that's enough to get you enough data rolling through your account to see what's working and what's not for most small businesses. But you can also start out, $250 a month, but just understand that it's going to take you 4, 5, 6 times as long to get enough data rolling through your account to tweak it and understand how to improve on what's actually working versus an ad account that's spending $2,000, $3,000, or $4,000 a month in their account. They can just arrive at those conclusions so much faster because you have a larger volume of results to work from. So you can fall anywhere on the scale, but certainly LinkedIn does require a committed investment.
Definitely.
Yeah. Absolutely. And committed time. Right? Committed time.
So Instagram, FaceApp,
LinkedIn. One more. Let's do one more quick one, right? We're at minute 39. Let's do one quick one.
Let's talk Twitter.
You want to do Twitter?
I want to do Twitter.
You want to talk Twitter?
Totally want to
All right.
Okay, so
we can crack off a couple of these really quick.
Okay, so let's Twitter has this fantastic design. So it's 2019, by the way. Twitter's finally rolling out. Twitter.com is rolling out a huge redesign. Obviously, navigation is a big push. Obviously, more features. What else do we have going on here?
Well, so first, again, whenever they redesign, they try to make it simpler. They never do. Let's just be clear. It's not simpler. It's not. It's just different. Okay. Second, let's also talk about the other Twitter thing that they did, and that is, and this actually is a big deal. They actually put the bio in your followers, so I no longer have to click through to their profile page, so that I can now see that, oh, look, at the Digital Gal is really Amanda Robinson, not at the Digital Gal who somebody tried to pirate her name.
Thank you.
I think it's you, right? And I think it's you because it looks like you, and then I click through and I realize it's a Russian dating site that's trying to use you to try to lure me in. So yeah, I kind of like that, but the design is whatever. I don't think it's simpler. I just think it's different.
Yeah, I think for someone like myself, I always use the hashtag not on Twitter. I just don't use Twitter as much. I'm more of a Facebook gal. And occasionally I wander over to Twitter and poke around, and it's just, I've never loved the platform. I've never loved how intuitive versus not intuitive it has been. It's one of those platforms where you're either in it or you're not. You're either really in it and engaged, and that's your source of information and participation and engagement, or it's really not. So I find that with an update like this, like a revamp to the layout, it might actually attract somebody like me back into being more interested in poking around and consuming the content in a different way. It's just nice to see they're actually evolving. And Phil, to your point, the part that I'm most excited about is that they're going to be including your actual bio and information when somebody follows you. So now when I look at the notifications and I scroll through, at a glance, I can now put context to it. Because before there was no context, there's just an @ handle and it means nothing to me and I don't care. It's just a whole bunch of names, and half of them are, I don't want to say spam accounts, but are irrelevant accounts as it pertains to the value I can provide or the business I can provide or the value I can get from engaging with them.
Yeah, totally agree. Christian, what are you thinking about this one, buddy?
It looks to me a lot like Facebook, because they're finally adding like that, the additional columns and whatnot of content. They're also, by the way, downgrading their moments feature as well. They're putting that under the more section in your menu. So I'm glad they're making a redesign. But hey, it's 2019. We're quite a number of years past this. And to me, that's like, it's a little too late.
Too late.
I don't know. I'm still happy that with the new menu redesign, for a lot of those features, you now don't have to go hunting for them. You don't have to go. It's not a needle in a haystack. I mean, if you're not on the platform every single day, like I'm not, and I know that I need to go into my ads or analytics or my lists, it's just not as intuitive.
Yeah. And by the way, they are making some other changes, by the way, here. So like if you're on mobile and you're going to go to like the Explore feed, for example, they're pushing, that towards live video and obviously more like local content. So kind of keep that in mind. And this is from a strategy standpoint. So it's not just like, hey, I'm getting dark mode. Like, wow, big deal. I'm getting a redesign, big deal as well. It's the little small things that you guys are mentioning, like the profile piece, the fact that, you're being able to, if you're on mobile, putting the preference towards live video or local content, because, hey, if I'm on mobile, what are the chances of the content I'm sharing? It's going to be either live video, because, hey, everybody wants to watch that, or it's going to be local news based on what's going on in my area. It's not just going to be like, hey, here's the latest like tweets from your followers. So I'm glad they're making those updates. They're also bringing back the bookmarks feature as well to their desktop navigation, along with a host of other things as well. But anything else you want to add about Twitter? I mean, if I'm a business, like, I guess it can't opt out of getting this, by the way. So
I would say, to your point, back to Twitter, like, I'm for it. I think it's great, right? For me, it's not a big thing. For other people who don't use Twitter, all the little bit that they do to declutter actually helps people win. I'm all about that. I know that I get that feedback, when I try to teach Twitter and how sales professionals can use Twitter better. They're often like, I don't get it. I don't know what's the biggest change. So I'm going to surface up who the heck these people are. Because, Amanda, to your point, they didn't even show the @ person. If there's more than one, they just showed little pictures that were about as big as the booger in your nose, right? That was no good. That doesn't help me at all. So I'm looking at your nose. Oh, you got it. Good job. Okay, so yeah. So that's the change for that.
And I want to say that change is hard. And this is anytime they're doing a revamp on the entire layout, change is hard. So for those of you that have been using Twitter for business day in, day out, and that's your main everything, change is hard when they shuffle everything around on you. But for those that are not using this every day, the change may have a good impact on attracting more attention and usability to it. I'm seeing the same thing happening over on Facebook with their ads manager. Facebook Ads Manager has had an entire complete rejig and new look, and it's a little bit shocking for those of us that are not used to that level of change. But the new changes that they've made are making it easier for people who don't use that platform all the time to actually start using it and getting more value out of it. So that's how I see this update with Twitter. They're making some big changes to the layout, the look, but it has some potential to make it easier and more usable.
And by the way, if you are somebody who uses Twitter a lot, or you want to kind of dip your toes back into the water and test it out, just keep in mind, like if you have events or things like that going on, just make sure you prepare for those things. It's like giving a presentation. I could give 1,000 presentations, but I still want to go through and practice and make sure I have everything right. The same thing with Twitter. Log into your Twitter account, see if you have any of these changes, because there's nothing worse than giving a presentation and saying, "Hey, oh wow, everything changed." Because it just,
so like on my Facebook ads live training, I was doing that on Tuesday, and I do it's live training. I do 4 weeks of live training, and our week 3 training, I was live and showing Ads Manager and walking through reporting, and of course, while I was live, the whole interface changed. While I was live, and it's a big enough change that I'm like, and we're gonna click on a reports and where did that button go? Everything's different. So it was a shock, but I knew it was coming. But what are the chances that it happened on my live stream?
Yes, 100%, 100%.
Always the way.
The bottom line is just it's live. If you're doing it live and that happens, just kind of roll with the punches. Because there's no way you
punch a wall, right? That's what you said. Punch a wall because you're so ticked off that it happened. Is that what you said? No. Roll with it. Deal with it. It happened. Yeah.
And a lot of here's the thing. Like, this is why I started Social Chefs. Like, the fundamentals, they don't change necessarily. Like, hey, they add a feature. They move a menu around. Like, okay, hey, I gotta. People understand things get moved. Things get misplaced. For example, things get added, removed. But just know that like the fundamentals are practically the same. So hey, if it's previously one way and they changed it a little bit another way, just roll with it. Like, oh, Facebook had this update or Instagram had this update. Okay, well, hey, chances are this is how the Twitter one's going to work. You can quickly wrap your head around it and just propel yourself forward.
That's what we're hoping for the Twitter redesign, but knowing Twitter's history, we'll see.
Yes. So do we have any time for any more topics, Phil? Or do we want to jump into tool time?
Oh, well, we've got Amanda on. All right, so let's have a Quinella tonight, as opposed to
episode. So
200th episode. It's special. We got a special guest. We're going to do the Quinella tonight. We're going to go to a 5th topic. It's like sudden death overtime. Let's go to YouTube. YouTube made it now for all of us who like to accidentally include music, meaning you're at a live event and suddenly, the lips, She Don't Use Jelly is playing in the background, and I want to clip that out. Well, now they make it easier to have timestamps and editing tools so that you can resolve those content ID claims, so that if the flaming one hit actually is accidentally playing, I can replace it with playing the nose flute free, whatever I want. I don't know. What do you think, Amanda? You think this is a big deal, or you think no?
Oh, I think it's giving some power back to content creators who are on the up and up, doing things legitimate, and just things happen or mistakes happen. You're not trying to copyright content is a big deal, especially on YouTube, and sometimes it's just hard to avoid. So I love the fact that they're creating an opportunity. They're creating tools to give some power back to the content creators to make it right and still keep that quality content up there.
Totally agree.
I think. And a very easy, important thing to know. About at least about YouTube copyright. They have a very sophisticated engine. They pick up on, as you guys mentioned, the smallest minute things. It could be the audio playing in the background. It could be, pieces of some of the audio that you're using. So I'm glad to see they're actually making this update. Again, they have Facebook nipping at their heels. They've got Instagram nipping at their heels, along with many of the other platforms. And, people watch a lot of video. And so YouTube has to, they're trying to be proactive and take the necessary steps they need to in order to, to help out their creators. And that's
It's hard for YouTube, where they have to respect the copyright laws. They have to take down content that doesn't conform. But to your point, they have to keep up. They have to keep ahead. And when you have an entire, huge, valuable piece of content that has to be taken down because of one little mistake or one little blip, whereas now if you can edit out that little mistake or edit out that issue or correct the issue, then it's a win-win for everybody.
Exactly. And, and the other thing also, a lot of times when you get a copyright claim, because we have like I think I published like 500 plus like YouTube videos. And the thing is, like, if you have any sort of copyright claim, it applies to your whole video. So it's like, hey, if that's a revenue generating video, for example, the whole thing comes down. So at this point, this will actually help you like flag the specific part that needs to be fixed in the content versus, actually saying, hey, take all the content down, so just keep that in mind with things.
And this probably has a higher potential to help educate content creators on exactly what they did wrong, or exactly, not necessarily what they did wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, and exactly when, right? Because it's one thing to tell you, hey, Amanda, you used copyrighted music. I'm like, where the hell is it? Where? I don't hear it. As opposed to at 1:17 and 12 milliseconds, you had the Backstreet Boys song in the background. Mm-hmm. Backstreet's back, all right. And so I'm more of a New Kids on the Block fan. To be honest, I'm younger or older. No, I'm older than the both of you. So yeah, but that happens, right? So and if you haven't been on tour with the New Kids yet, I'm going. They invited me to be a backup dancer in 20 Never, so I'll be there. Just buy tickets.
That's good to know. I would front row. I'd be front row.
That's what I'm saying. So yeah. But I think this is super helpful for our content creators, especially, again, if you're a little guy or gal in business, you often don't know you didn't do it on purpose. Now you do know, and now you know how to fix it. And what's cool is there are lots of tools that can help you with this. YouTube's got some royalty-free music, and that leads us into the dancing part of the show, which is tool time. So, Christian, put up the graphics so we can dance. Yeah, Cabbage Patch. Return of the Mac. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? It's tool time. Tool time. It's our favorite part of the show. It's tool time, folks. We're going to talk about 2 awesome tools that you can use today. We're actually talking about 2 YouTube tools that can help you actually maybe monetize your channel at some point. And we're dancing, and it's episode 200.
So tool
Christian
time.
the Fool, put up the tool.
Tool time is one of my favorite parts of the show. And as Phil mentioned, we bring 2 tools to you each week. And these aren't tools that you have to definitely use. We try to bring them to you so that you can, say, hey, is there something in my business that I can replace or something that I can improve, to either make my life easier or to, make it easier for my customers. And the first tool that we have for this week is the YouTube subscribe bar. And basically what this is going to do, it's a WordPress plugin. So if you're a WordPress user, basically what this is going to do is when you have a YouTube video, it's going to add a subscribe button to the bottom of your videos automatically. So this way somebody doesn't have to, basically it's adding CSS styling essentially around your videos so that you can quickly build your subscribers. Because, when we talked about this earlier about LinkedIn ads, hey, you might have, 8 to 10 clicks, however many clicks it takes to get the customer to the right part of your site, for example, or to that landing page or whatnot. With the YouTube subscribe bar, if somebody has a video embedded on their site and they want the person to subscribe, they don't have to wait till the end when they can put their, their credits up to, hey, go subscribe to us. This basically will give you the ability to have a subscribe button right below your video so somebody can quickly click and subscribe to your channel. Very simple. Nothing more than that. Do you guys use this one at all? Any feedback, any thoughts on this one?
No, but I will actually be using this after seeing this.
And by the way, this is a tool. It's built by Syed Balki. So he actually founded Opt-in Monster. Let me think what other ones. Well, Opt-in Monster is a big one at least. WP Forms, Monster Insights as well. He's a fantastic WordPress resource. Founder of WPBeginner.com as well. But very simple plugin to use. Download it, install it, and on your site, on your WordPress site, by the way. And there you go. You now have the ability to start growing your subscribers. Anything you want to add, Phil?
Which is say, right, this is super awesome. One thing to note, it has not yet been tested with the latest edition of WordPress. So be flip because make sure plugins get.
Yeah. Poor Phil. He's a little bit broken up there.
He is, yes. I think what Phil was saying, and Phil maybe want to refresh his page. We'll bring him back in, but basically, it's not yet tested with the latest version of WordPress. But keep that in mind.
Hello, everyone. Yeah. So.
No, you're here.
It says I'm in the show.
We got you.
Here we go, and we're back. What happened?
Phil, you're still here, yeah. So I'm getting a little robot voice going on. Amanda, you're still here, right?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, Phil, I'm going to drop you out and bring you back in. But for people watching overall, so we're going to wait for Phil to come back in. Let's see. Okay, Phil, you're still there.
I'm here, and now Amanda's gone.
No, I'm still here.
We're all still here, by the way. And this is the beauty with live video, by the way. You have to roll with the punches on live video at times. But YouTube subscriber has not been tested with the latest version of WordPress. But again, that's the thing when you're building a website, you typically want to have a staging environment, a dev environment where you basically can make your changes. Say you want to add this to your site, you're not sure if it breaks the site or not. Add it to your dev site, test it out, and then you can push it all to live. But a very simple tool. And as I mentioned, it's a free tool. And if you don't want to use a plugin, there is a way to also add this manually via some CSS. But that is tool number 1 for the week, a YouTube subscribe bar.
I'm going to try it out. I like this.
Definitely. And so the second tool that we have for this week, and this actually ties in with our YouTube copyright reporting system we talked about earlier. And this is a tool called Epidemic Sound. And, for those of you, the music actually, for instance, that we use in our intro, as well as our outro, that comes directly from Epidemic Sound. And, it's basically a royalty-free music service. Individuals and businesses can both participate in this. But what I think, to me, what makes this very unique is it's not just like their massive catalog that they have, but they have this feature where you can take a piece of music and you can strip out different stems. So, for example, if you don't like the drums, for example, but you like the overall beat and the melody, you can quickly turn that feature off and just export the one piece that you want for music to use in your content. So, Amanda, anything you want to add on this tool? Have you
I think I've experimented with Epidemic Sound in the past. I use one called Soundstripe that I pay for. So it's
right.
And I just want to get an idea from Epidemic Sound. If you've used it, do you run into any restrictions on cannot be used for paid content or monetized content? Do you run into any issues with the different soundtracks that you want to use?
I have not run into that one at the moment. I mean, I can definitely tell you, I know plenty of major brands that use it, and and no issues there for sure. I mean, there's the business side. Yeah. So definitely keep that in mind. I think Phil's back. Phil, you there?
I'm back. What's up? Sorry,
Phil, we missed you.
At the hotel in San Diego. I apologize.
Oh, Phil, it is the story of my life.
Sound.
It is the story of my life with all of my digital nomading and road tripping and traveling and all of the different places and hotels that I had to live stream from, including in my car. I have, hotel internet. I don't care what they claim. It's the worst.
Totally is. Totally agree.
Yeah. So, Epidemic Sound, like I said, this is a tool for helping you get music for your videos, for example, whether it's a video that you're recording or one that maybe you want to use during your an intro or outro or whatever that you have as well. But I personally use it. I love the tool. From a pricing standpoint, it's actually not that bad. I'm going to bring up the pricing for everybody as well. This tool is $150 a month if you're on the business side. It's $15 a month for the creator subscription. You can try it for 30 days, no copyright claims or royalty fees or any of that sort of stuff associated with it. Just keep in mind as well. It also includes some social media boosting if you're going to use the business subscription side. And obviously it's for businesses up to 50 employees. But personally, I love it. Lots and lots and lots of options here. You can test it out. You can actually go in and you can try out some of the different soundtracks that are available. And they also have some amazing sorting features and searching capabilities to help you quickly narrow down the music that you want. And that's probably one of the biggest things, I think, overall, if you're trying to pick music. How do you pick, like, well, I want this particular sound? Like, it's hard to actually go through all the content without having to actually listen to everything. So they have some features there as well that make it very, very easy.
Better search makes for better videos, right? To Amanda's point from before, stop the scroll. Sometimes that's just some different music.
I'm trying to entice Canada Small Dog to make an appearance.
Come on, Canada Small Dog. Woof, woof, woof.
Come on. And there we go.
And he's on. What's up, Canada Small Dog?
Not again.
So we got 4 people, 2 guests. Holy cow.
So by the way, this is so that's the second tool we have for this week. So anything y'all want to add, by the way? I know we've gone a couple minutes over this week, but
I think we're right on the money. We just want to give big props to Amanda. Check out the Digital Gal. Amanda, where do we find you and love you more?
You can find me everywhere at The Digital Gal, whether that's on hashtag I'm not on Twitter. You can find me on Facebook at The Digital Gal and Instagram at The Digital Gal.
Fantastic. It's been a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you.
By the way, big shout out to everybody who took the time to tune into our 200th episode. 200th episode, Mia, Joanne, Barb, Sue-Ann, Katie Miller, like looking through lots and lots of people. But thanks a lot for joining us this week. We have a fantastic show next week as well. But Amanda, thank you so much for taking some of the time out of your day to share that with viewers. And remember, we've also got a podcast coming out as well very soon. So, Phil, any parting thoughts you want to add?
Parting thoughts again, big props and love to Amanda. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Good stuff. And thank you, Canada Small Dog, for making an appearance. And yeah, stay tuned right again at thesocialchefs.com/SC podcast to get the new podcast coming out next week to celebrate the 201st episode. So be ready for that. 200 episodes. Christian, big hand to you, buddy. 200 episodes. That's amazing. Good job, buddy. You the man.
So, by the way, that's actually, I need to make a GIF out of that. By the way, that would be perfect. So, but yeah, that would actually be perfect. But just for everybody watching, thanks a lot for tuning in. We also are going to have a blog post recap go out tomorrow. That's going to have some additional topics we didn't get to. That'll be at socialchefs.com/SC200. But we will see you all next week. Next week, Phil, who do we have on?
Oh boy, next week. I knew you were going to put me on the spot. I'm not sure because actually I'm not going to be on next week because I'm going to be out.
Okay.
You tell me what we got.
Okay, so we've got Kelly Mirabella on next week.
My BF, my bot girlfriend Kelly. You are gonna love it. She packs a powerhouse of energy and knowledge.
So that show is going to be airing at the same time as this week, so 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. But thanks a lot for joining, everyone. I'm going to roll some credits, but we will see you all next week.
Bye.